welcome. That's my warm smile, Paul.
It'll drive a lot of people away. Do it again. Do your face when we have a lemony tofu thing and lemon potatoes.
Sorry, a what?
Lemony tofu thing and lemon potatoes at the same time.
I like those lemony tofu things and lemony potatoes. I like the lemoniness of them. I've got a new scarf.
Oh yeah, you were given it, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. By my friend down the road who gave me all the other scarves over the years.
Many of them.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them.
How many have you got now?
56.
56. More than one for each week of the year. There we are.
Literally.
Literally.
Welcome. Thank you.
Sunday chat.
That's it. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to yet another.
Yeah, 20 years
Episode.
of Sunday chat.
20 years? I'll be 20 years.
Just feels like it.
It really does.
Oh dear, yeah.
And thank you to those of you who are binge watching us. You just can't get enough, can you? Once you're hooked, you just can't stop.
And if you've been watching us since the beginning, let us know. Yeah.
And remember, if you want it all, watch Richard and Paul. Yeah, I came up with that.
You did, yeah. What a fantastic strapline.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Anyway, also, I want to say thank you to you for buying my photographs on our coffee shop and taking advantage of the Maybank holiday offer, which is now expired. It was in force for a whole week, but it expired on at midnight Friday, on Friday, whichsoever.
Was it a whole week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not a whole week.
Not a whole week.
Almost a whole week, Paul. I thought it was very generous, actually.
Yeah. It was
Anyway, thank you to those
week.
of you who took advantage of the offer. It was really great. So you bagged a bargain. And that's good. Good, and it was good. And it was good. That's a line from the Bible, isn't it? Blah, 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 blah. And it was good.
There we are.
I don't know what it's from, but seeing as we've got a new pope...
Deuteronomy 15:7.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. So, lovely. We usually kick off with...
You're all kerfuffled.
Well, it was getting in my way.
You're not getting any ink on that, are you?
Shush now, Paul. We usually kick off with Richard and Paul's weather report. So, Paul, what has the weather been like this week?
Dry.
Very dry.
Blustery.
Very dry.
A drying wind. Relatively cold, cool, normal temperatures for this time of year. But at night time, we dropped down to 4 degrees for one night this week. Fortunately, we're now picking up a little bit again now. I think it's about 22 degrees outside. I don't think it will feel like that because there's still that breeze.
Yeah, there is.
It's very sunny, and I think now looking forward, it looks as though we're not due temperatures less than 8 degrees overnight, which is good.
Well, that's good news for growers.
It is, yeah.
Isn't it?
I'm going to be putting various things out. Red curry squash is going to be going out, and courgettes is going to be going out.
Red who?
Red curry squash.
Oh, is this another type of squash that you've decided to grow?
Well, no, it's one that I've grown before. Do you remember that lovely... You might have even taken the photo of the red curry, orange fruit in the beans.
Well,
many years ago.
Oh,
In fact, it was such a good photograph. Maybe I took it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're lovely.
vaguely.
They're curry. They're Japanese acorn squash.
So what
Yeah.
about, what's the uchiki curry then?
Uchiki curry? It's the same thing. Uchiki curry and
So
red
it's not
curry
a
are
new
the same
one?
thing. Well, no, it's not. I didn't say it was a new one.
Well, I don't know. I
You
just
said it was a new one.
Never heard you say that before. Thank
Well,
you very much.
And yellow Oh, what's that?
What? Oh God, it's not a creature, is it?
No, it's a leaf. I think that was in my hair from the work party this morning.
How lovely. So
Yeah.
Paul's been down doing work at the allotment. I'm looking back. Paul, stop it now. It's been very distracting. I'm looking back at last year. Last year's weather was also warm, sunny and breezy.
What, for the
How
whole year?
Interesting. On virtually the same day, this was the 11th of May. And it was also the Hootie as well, which is on today, which we'll talk about in a moment.
The Hanwell Hootie.
That's Hootie, not
Hootie.
Hooters.
Not ooh, ooh.
But you don't need to mime Hooters, Paul. I think everybody knows what they are. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, this time last year, we had the aurora
Borealis.
that we could view from London.
Yeah, I remember that. You got me out of bed, didn't you?
I was thrilled.
He was.
I really was thrilled.
Is this your Kenneth moment?
Well, no, I'm just doing the trill on the R.
I can't do things like that.
No, you're one of those people that can't roll the tongue. Either can you? Can't do a... Let me see. Oh, you can. Not very well.
I
There
can
we
wiggle
are.
my eyes.
Wiggle your eyes?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Do what? You're not wiggling your eyes, you're just looking pained.
It's wiggly to me anyway. Yeah. It makes everything wiggle. Yeah.
Do they have some kind of medal for that in Guernsey?
Yeah, most probably. In the Eisteddfod, I think there's sort of eye wiggling in the
So yes,
Eisteddfod.
today is the 10th of May, but this is coming out on the 11th, and today is the Hanwell Hootie. So the streets are abuzz with people going to various different musical events dotted around the Hanwell area, and that comprises the Hootie. The big stage isn't there this year, is it?
No.
On the meadow. Which
We
is
have
a
a-
shame because that's what we used to hear, drifting on the wind.
It is, yeah. I mean, at the allotment, I hear the music at the Fox, so you hear that. By this time, we had a work social this morning, and there would have been rehearsals going on in the meadow, so that would have been floating across.
Yes.
And the meadow, the Hanwell meadow, is actually below the
Viaduct.
viaduct. So when you go out of London, you go through Hanwell Station, and then there's the big viaduct that crosses our meadow area. So yeah, it's not there this year. It's a bit smaller, the Hootie. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, it was very big last time it was on. It
So
really
the
was.
viaduct is the Warncliffe Viaduct, if you ever want to look it up on Google Maps. And it was built by Brunel,
Well, it was
wasn't it?
yeah, designed by Brunel.
Well,
yes.
they say built
And
by
he stood
Brunel.
back. There's there's not photographs. There's drawings from standing back, looking at the building of it.
Well, everybody knows he didn't build it himself,
No.
brick by brick.
Brick by
Paul.
brick. Well, there is that guy, isn't there, in Spain or something, that's built a cathedral brick by brick and thing by thing.
Really
And then the
lovely.
viaduct was actually, because so many trains were going in and out of Paddington, the viaduct, it was widened like 80, 100 years, whatever, after it was originally built. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Thank
Yeah.
you, Paul. How interesting.
And Richard's taken lots and lots of photographs down the thing, haven't you? The big archways underneath the viaduct.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a massive structure.
Have you ever
Absolutely
been
enormous.
on an aqueduct knowingly, or under one?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, you have.
Oh, the one on the A406.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the North Circular.
Yeah, we were watching Canal. What was it? Canal Diaries.
Journeys by Doodah.
Yeah, with
La.
Prue and Tim, and we realised that one of the bridges we go under is actually a canal bridge. So yeah, there we are. That's interesting.
That's lovely, Paul. Yeah. So in the news this week, lots of interesting things going on. Thank goodness, Pakistan and India have appeared to sort out their differences. That's a bit of a relief because, frankly, we don't want tensions between any more nuclear powers.
No.
Really, do we? No, we don't need... We need peace on Earth. We need grown-up people, really, seriously, grown-up people to just get along.
Yeah.
That's what we need now, more than ever. And I find it abhorrent that they don't. And frankly, you know, are there crazy people in charge now?
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, obviously there is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several, yeah.
I mean, I said it on the live show.
The orange one is, you know, is one, obviously. Then you've got Putin, then you've got North Korea, then you've got a whole host of others that are just sort of vying to be idiot of the year.
It's power. Yeah. The power has gone to their heads.
Yeah.
And they've forgotten their reason for being there. It's not to be some kind of, what's the word, dictator monarch. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure they see themselves as monarchs.
Well, of course they do. Yes.
But you know, no, you're there to serve the people and to make sure the country provides for the people. You know?
But that seems to be the last thing on many politicians' minds. Many politicians who are in really strong and powerful positions, that doesn't seem to be what they're there for anymore, including in the UK. You know, let's not, you know, beat about the bush. Our own politics over here is just, I would say, going to the dogs, apart from the fact that, you know, dogs are fine things.
Well,
I'm not sure what it's going to.
Look at the mayor of London. Now, this is another story in the news this week. They are now looking to build on the green belt. Now, the green belt, there are various green belts across the country. These are areas that are supposedly protected from any building, but they're now saying there are so many people that they've got to start building on greenbelt because nobody's using the greenbelt. Only 13% of people visit those areas.
But it's not just about that, is it? That's the thing. You know, it's about wildlife, it's about air quality, it's about all of those things. And just as we were saying last week about the, you know, dimming of the sun at the same time as people, you know, the government's putting out huge solar messages that we should all be getting solar, you've got London, the London Mayor has been tackling poor air quality for years and years and years, and that air quality has been improving year on year, and now wants to build on the green belt, which is significant in keeping low pollution levels in the UK, in London and around other cities throughout the UK. It's insane.
Yeah, but even with that, you know, there's been another story in the news about the low traffic neighbourhoods, the LTNs, in various areas around London. This particular one was in Dulwich, and the people have sort of rose up and said, no, this is not working, because what is happening is the traffic is being diverted to other areas and causing build-up of pollution in other parts of those areas. So, you know, the thing is, what I'm seeing at the moment is it seems like the past 10 years, the politicians and the people working for local councils, people in power, again, seem to be making these panicked, rash decisions because they've been told to cut down emissions, they've been told to manage the traffic, they've been told to do X, Y, and Z. So they come up with these crazy schemes that have not been proven to work, and impose them on sectors of the community. And then you're finding they're having to be reversed because they're not working, because they weren't thought out well enough. You know, there's all of this happening across the country now. Yet the basics aren't being catered for. You know, they're spending billions on these new schemes, yet people can't get to see a doctor, or people can't get a home, or people can't be rehoused. The emergency housing is breaking down. It's a very grim picture if you really start to take it all apart. And it's quite worrying because it really feels as though the people in charge don't know what they're doing anymore. You know?
Yeah.
And politicians behaving in the way that they're behaving.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Orange Idiot and his May the 4th social media posting, and the one about him as Pope. I mean, you know...
I don't think that any politician should be allowed to do that kind of posting, because for me what it does, it sends out a message that, oh, I can act like a fool when I want because I'm in power, and I can say or do these silly things. And actually what it seems to do is send out a message to people that in a formal situation it's okay to be a prat. And it's not.
No.
Because these are formal situations. They are positions of great responsibility. And, you know, you wouldn't see a member of the royal family acting in that way, you know.
Well, not often, no.
Well, no, you wouldn't, you know. What if the king started posting AI pictures of himself as the Pope or as somebody from Star Wars? I mean...
Well, of course, he is head of the Church of England anyway, so he wouldn't do that.
Well, no, but...
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, it would be really ridiculous. And it is ridiculous that President Trump is allowed to do that, you know? Because it seems that nobody is whispering in his ear saying, excuse me, Mr. President, but this is not appropriate.
But I don't think it even enters his head that I mean, you know, he's not a president really. He's a president through being voted into the thing.
Doesn't
but
matter.
He's not presidential.
That's
is he?
regardless of that. You know, irrespective of all of that, there is a code, and maybe it's an unspoken code that I think most people get.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
But many people, and increasingly more people, aren't.
But what annoys me is that it seems that nobody's really standing up and saying this. That this shouldn't really be the way that these people behave. Anyhow.
But we'll come on to a programme a little bit later that did pick up on some of these things. So, yeah.
And apparently the US and the UK have just struck a deal with the tariffs.
Yeah.
We're still paying extra 10% though, aren't we?
So this was a deal that clearly they thought about the timing, because of course the orange one talked about Liberation Day many weeks ago when he brought in the tariffs, and the governments of the UK and the US decided to announce this on a Liberation Day, on VE Day, on the 8th of May. And I think it was all about timing and tying in that liberation wording. I think there was nothing else about it, because these tariffs, this trade deal, which is still tariffs, was set 6 or 8 weeks ago. There's no difference in it than the one that was set 2 months ago. And in fact, I was listening to the Today programme about 2 months ago when I was driving down to Vanessa, and our one of the politicians, one of the people in the cabinet, had a wry smile on his face because he knew that it was almost about to be signed. So I think there's been a delay in signing this just so that they could get the sort of liberation message across. which of course we shouldn't be doing. We should, just if trade deals are there, just do them, sign them, and let people know about them. But yeah,
anywho,
ridiculous.
In other news, the interest rates, the Bank of England has dropped the interest rate slightly, which of course is good news for people with mortgages
and loans,
but not great news for people with savings.
No. But again, the economy over here needs to get going. It's being very sluggish. It's not really doing anything. And to be honest, that money that is being saved is just going to be spent with corporations who are profiteering. So, yeah, it's we live in mad times at the moment. We really do. We do. Yeah.
So,
bit of a whinge fest today. Yeah, little bit of a whinge fest.
Okay, so
Though I did have a very nice time at the work social at the allotment this morning. That was very nice.
Well,
Got a lot done.
I'm sure you'll be talking about that in your week at the plot.
No, I don't think I will, because a week at the plot is already pretty full.
Well,
but
next week's week at the plot.
Well, no,
then.
don't talk about what happened 2 weeks ago in the week at the plot.
Oh. Anyway, it's time for the
You're looking very lovely today, Richard.
Thank you.
Your hair looks amazing.
Does
Your
it?
eyes look so bright and sparkly.
It's a wonder.
What time did we wake up this morning?
Oh God, I don't know.
I think I was up by about 10 to 6.
Yeah, it was something like 5.
Yeah. Oh, there we are.
It's a wonder we're not completely and utterly wiped out by 9:30 every night. Oh, we are.
You usually are.
Yeah.
I must admit, we did, we'll come on to this, but we did watch something last night, and it was just coming up to 11 o'clock, and I was sort of dozing at the end of it.
Sorry, were you saying something?
No, I was just blurbling on.
It's time for the intellectual bit. Word of the week. It's the 11th of May broadcast date, and the word is bibliotaph. Bibliotaph. Bibliotaph.
Is this some type of biblio? So that's books, isn't it?
Well, one would assume.
Books, taff.
What other things have taff in them? Cenotaph?
Cenotaph.
Anyway.
I don't know, yeah.
Dead air space, but place
An
for an
advert.
Right, shush now, Paul. God. Right, here we go. The British writer Isaac Disraeli, born on this day in 1766, is credited, among many other things, including fathering the future Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, with coining the word bibliotaph, which means a person who entombs books by keeping them under lock and key. So Greek biblios, book, plus taphos, which is tomb.
Oh, right. Oh, cenotaph, yeah.
There we are,
Yeah.
you see. And there is more, but I'm not going to read that.
And where is Disraeli's house?
Doodah, Lala, up the, what's its
Up
name?
Doodah. High Wycombe?
Hewenden Manor.
Hewenden Manor.
That we have visited.
Yeah.
On a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
And had tea in the tea room and visited the gift shop too.
But where have we also had tea at Hewenden Manor? In the car. We went there one day with Mum and Dad. This is many moons ago. And we got up there and it was just absolutely chucking it down. So we had tea and our sandwiches in the car, and then it dried up and we were able to go into Hewenden Manor.
I have no recollection of that.
It's funny, isn't it, how some things one person remembers vividly.
Sure I was there?
Or maybe you were there.
I was
You were there.
Because occasionally you had to go out with Mum and Dad because I was working.
I did, yes, yeah. We would sort of often go on times like that to, oh, it's a motorbike, to Brent Cross Shopping Centre, or go to Richmond, or go to Kew Retail Park and do a bit of sort of shopping, or to Ealing Broadway, rather than going to a stately home. Didn't go to a stately home very often without you, no.
So lovely, thank you, Paul. What have we watched on television this week? Well, we finished Jam in Jerusalem. We were watching that on YouTube.
We were. I really enjoyed that. It stood the test of time. It's sort of aged, but the performances really are excellent, and the characterizations are superb. Yeah.
And we continue with As Time Goes By, the story of Jean and Lionel. And I have to say, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm really, really enjoying it. If you've never seen As Time Goes By, as I say, it's the story of Jean and Lionel. And it has a big story arc over quite a number of seasons.
It's 8 or 9 seasons.
8 or 9 seasons. Very popular on the BBC. It's available on the iPlayer. We're watching it on
You and Yesterday.
But you know what? It's a masterclass in so many different things.
Yeah.
You know, acting, script, comedy, timing, all of that. I mean, Judi Dench and Jeffrey Palmer inhabit those characters so well.
Yeah.
And the rest of the cast is completely believable. Including Alistair, who's a bit over the top, but
I remember those people.
Those kind of characters existed.
Absolutely.
That was the time for those over-the-top rich boys.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a really good watch. Very enjoyable. I mean, I'm not sure whether all of the humour would translate to other cultures necessarily.
I think maybe not, and it's quite interesting watching Lionel, the character Lionel, who comes across as very gruff and grumpy quite a lot of the time. But it's just somebody who's been through the mill and actually finds himself in a situation with a book that's being published, and he never really thought it was going to be published, and suddenly he needs to do things in the public eye, and he's not a public eye person, so yeah.
But it's a really good watch, it really is. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I can't get enough of it at the moment.
And I think also that was the time when personal secretaries, because Jean runs an agency of secretaries, and that was the time with personal secretaries and secretaries where it was really big business. It was boom time. You know, executives did want to have an assistant, and if their assistant was going away, if their executive assistant particularly was going away, one would be hired in to replace that person for a week or a fortnight. And it's fascinating how then many documents would be typed up by we had the secretarial pools of decades ago, and then the sort of executive PA and the executive secretary came out of that.
Yeah, all right.
And now, of course, we're all typing things up ourselves, doing emails ourselves.
It's even more interesting to see, in terms of their set, how it starts off, there are no computers in the office.
Yeah.
Then there's one computer in the office.
Yeah.
Or it's maybe referred to as the word processor.
Yeah.
And we're sort of moving forward now. They've got a computer at home, I notice, in the corner.
Yeah, they have now.
So, I mean, we remember the office without the computer.
Mm-hmm.
The best you could hope for would be an electric typewriter.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a display on it.
A one-line display.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, which was amazing because you could do corrections.
Yeah, you could go back and change that D to an E and things. Yeah.
So it's fascinating because it's very anchored in its time, which was the
80s.
The mid-80s?
Yeah. It's sort of mid-80s to early 90s.
Yeah. Very of its time, especially with the fashions as well. But
And the language.
But the stories, the situations are timeless.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're still situations that most relationships find themselves in. You know,
And also the sort of relationships, particularly with Jean and with Lionel, where they tell a white lie about something so that they don't hurt somebody, or they don't have to get themselves into a situation they need to go to something, and then suddenly, of course, that white lie comes and bites them back, and it escalates the whole situation. Lovely, yeah.
so we've also started. Have we started Glow Up? I don't
Yes,
really remember.
we have. We're in the second week of the new Glow Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, ding dong, it is not. But I find some of those shows quite humorous, and I find this one quite humorous.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it a bit vacuous, and I think, yeah, they all seem to have issues.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
And one wonders these days, is there anybody out there that doesn't have an issue? You know, I mean, including myself, but it seems to be that everybody wears their heart on their sleeve nowadays. Everything is there to be seen, which I don't know whether that's beneficial or not. I don't know. Does it help people work stuff out more easily because they're displaying it to the world? Or does thinking about something privately and having one-to-one therapy do more good? I don't know.
Don't know.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
But it's also interesting going back to, as time goes by, Lionel finds himself in a situation often where people are telling him things, and he's sort of like, I don't need to know that. That's not what I want to know. I just want to know if we're going to get on and do this job.
Well, exactly. And I think there are more and more people nowadays who are very willing. I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit like that. I say things out loud sometimes that maybe I shouldn't say to people that I hardly know. So I'm guilty of it as well. Well, guilty is probably the wrong word, but yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Anywho, we watched a really good couple of Top of the Pops from 1985.
Yeah.
There were two programmes focused on 1985 and the music of 1985. It was
I think
a really good era.
One was March, I think, 1985, and the other one was the hits of 1985.
And it was such a, it was so definite, that era. And the music was so distinctive and so creative, but very similar in many ways. You've got those bombastic drums in most tracks, really wiggly bass lines all over the place, and it was all a very strong sound at the time.
And strong messages it was sort of either strong, really, really strong messages with, bands like the Smiths, or really sort of quite sort of romantic and lovey with, other...
Well, there were quite a few ballads, weren't there?
Yeah, what was that one? On Power of Love, wasn't it? What was that one with the sort of Star Wars video that...
Oh God, I don't know, but it was a bit bizarre.
There was one...
Was it Billy Ocean or George Benson? I can't remember.
I think it was Billy Ocean.
With this Star Wars sci-fi video, which was just so bizarre.
It was a love ballad, wasn't it, or something?
They were all love ballads. Loverboy.
Loverboy.
I remember the track, but I didn't remember the video. And
no, because it has nothing to do with it.
Completely and utterly out there, and not in a good way. Really.
No.
We watched Have I Got News For You last night, which is BBC One. It was a good episode.
It was a brilliant episode.
It was good. It was presented by David Tennant.
It was, and coming back to what we were saying earlier about people not doing things, not presenting themselves in a way that they shouldn't, like as the Pope, David Tennant was just sort of brilliant and on the mark. And then Miles Jupp is a great comedian over here, great with really quick lines, and it was just a really, really, really good show. Miles Jupp is one of the people this year that I've really got into on some radio shows. I think he's brilliant. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well done, Paul.
Well done for getting into Miles Jupp, so to speak.
Whatever. So that's it for this week's show.
Sunday Chat!
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do hope you've enjoyed your time with us.
And thank you for tuning in to Richard's lives yesterday as
Lives.
well.
Oh,
Lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So he was really into the swing of it yesterday with quite a few people there. I think there were 70 people or whatever. And then YouTube decided to kick him out. Kept everybody else in. But it kicked you out, didn't it?
Yes, it was hysterical, Paul.
So he had to start again. Oh dear
So,
me.
anywho, thank you, Tits and Bums. Big bananas.
Big bananas.
Take care.
Big bananas.
Take care. Toodle pip.
Take care.
Toodle pip. Au revoir. Bye. You can say bye.
Bye.